No, I just want to ask one question real quick, and then you could talk. I'll go on mute.
Go ahead, bro.
Do you deny cogito ergo sum? Like, you don't even think we can verify?
Okay, let me answer that. So that's why I said before we established our positions later, like before we were talking about this, I literally said the one thing I believe we can verify is one, an external world, and two, our existence. That's why I said what you just said is not true at all, actually. You can take the negation to your reasoning. You don't have to disagree with the overarching position. For example, I can believe Goku beats Naruto, but I don't have to agree with your reasoning being that Goku shoots his Kamehameha wave and not one-shots Naruto. So we're going to dismiss the other thing unless you repeat it later, because I want to stay on one point at a time.
Wait, it's not really a point. It's I'm trying to clarify something. I'm trying to ask you a question real quick. So, do you believe that the only thing we can 100% verify that we cannot apply skepticism to is the existence of a consciousness? I think therefore I am. You would immediately know that intuitively.
That's one thing. Yeah, no, that's not what I believe. That's just something I have currently to my knowledge, as in from what I've seen so far.
Mutual agreement.
Hold on. So our existence and external world is something we can verify definitively, most likely.
You think we can? Wait, our existence and an external world?
Yes, I don't. That's why I just said I don't disagree with the overarching position, which is an external world exists. I disagree with your reasoning as to why this external world exists. So we can debate. Hold on. So we can debate your premise. I don't disagree with the position overall.
I mean, okay, yeah, that's kind of unique. I thought you were actually coming with like a disagreeing position. Okay, yeah. So my argument for the existence of an external world is that I think that it's extremely probabilistic to believe in an external world via empiricism.
Okay, so before we get to that, hold on. Before we get into that,
that's my claim.
What do you believe? Hold on. We need to define the external world as something independent of the mind, right?
Yeah, I think the external world will be something independent of the mind, and I believe that through our empiricism, aka our sense data, we can come to analyze or have somewhat of an understanding of the external world. Although I do acknowledge that we can be somewhat... Okay, wait, chill.
Wait, hold on.
Although I do acknowledge that we can be somewhat... Wait, you did the same thing. After, because I was just want to clarify one thing. Although I do acknowledge that we could be sometimes infallible, which is why certain things like hallucinations... And sometimes, like, for example, let's say there's a building at a far distance and you're a far distance away from the building. To you, visually, via your perception, the building may appear to be small, but then when you're in proximity or in the vicinity near the building, it's going to appear to be big. So obviously, I do acknowledge that at certain times we can be somewhat infallible, but I think at the end of the day, we can still probabilistically come to the conclusion of an external world.
Okay, before we get to that, so to define empiricism, we're just using data sets and our observations to empirically verify something being there, for example. So when I'm putting it to question is how empirical validation is actually correct or how it's justifiable. You cannot rely back on the consensus of empiricism because, for example, if we were to exist within the mind, then that would defeat the external world existing. Therefore, you cannot rely on empiricism. So we can be, for example, hallucinating all these people around us, and to, for example, get knowledge on the consensus, we would have to be using our senses, which is hearing or sight, etc.
I'm not gonna lie, that's actually a very unique argument. So when you're talking about that argument in particular, what empiricism is that empiricism is just sense data, right? It's as in, hearing, touching, smelling, etc. Just sense data, right? So that's what empiricism is defined as. We have that mutual agreement and mutual understanding. So how empiricism is... Yeah, what's up?
Wait,
I'm gonna address your particular question point.
Wait, hold on. Yeah. Before we get to that, before I ask that, okay, yeah. So, what do you believe truth is? Oh my God, who is that?
I said something.
Yeah. Okay, so when you agree that truth is something that corresponds with reality, right?
Oh, I see what you're trying to say. Wait, can I just ask you where this argument's going to lead before answering your question? Are you going to try to say
I'm just
corresponds with the...
Go ahead, my fault.
I think it's something that is true would usually correspond with reality, but I think sometimes we can be infallible, which is why I gave the analogy about the building.
Yeah,
so
no.
Empiricism. Wait, chill. Please. Wait, let me finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I think that if there's an instance where our empiricism is used to be sense data, as in between our consciousness, there's this empiricism, and then the empiricism is what we use to understand the external world. I do acknowledge that at certain times we can collaborate certain things differently. Let's say, for example, the sky is blue. There may be another guy with a different type of sense of color, and to him the sky is green. Now, in that context right there, both observations of the sky still verify the existence, or still can probabilistically come to the existence of an external world, although we just have different observations of it. So even with your negation, even with your negation, where you're attempting to put empiricism into question, and you can't really do that because if all these people in collaboration all these
My
people
God.
can collaborate to the idea of an external world. Yes, some people may have different observations of such a thing, or some people can sometimes be infallible or wrong. Then in that context right there, we can still probabilistically come to that
Okay,
conclusion.
okay, okay. You're
It was
talking.
being
You're
an
talking.
induction, basically.
Okay, you're talking.
That was
So
one point.
the problem with your induction is that the initial analogy I gave is whether or not we exist within the mind, and we're seeing all these people as hallucinations. The problem is to get the consensus from these people, we would be relying back on our senses. Because, for example, if someone tells us that,
Wait, that's
no, I'll let you finish. For example, if
okay.
someone said, I perceive the sky is blue, and I say, I perceive the sky is green, I'm relying back on my senses because perception governs on senses, the senses of hearing, for example. If I read that this person says that the sky is blue, then I will be relying on my sight. So that doesn't actually justify the existence of an external world because all these things can be mind independent or mind dependent hallucinations. You haven't justified anything yet.
I
And
understand your point.
also for the correspondence theory, what do you mean by usually? Because I
Oh
believe
yeah.
now.
So for example, and this is why
Hold on.
when
Because
you
I believe
asked me a question, was that a rhetorical one or an actual question?
I believe
Because
elaborate on my question. You can answer after. Because I believe
wait, no,
knowledge.
I understand. I understand that question. Like I
Yeah, hold on,
entirely
hold
understand it.
on.
If
I'm
I
telling you.
don't afterwards, can you clarify?
Elaboration, bro. Chill. So
Your
I'm.
mic's cutting in and out.
Hold on, bro. Hello.
Um,
Hear me?
yeah, I can hear you now. Carry on.
Yeah. So with the elaboration of my question, I believe knowledge is JTB. Empirical validation is supposed to validate your knowledge. Therefore, having
Yeah, I understand what a true justified belief is. So when I said that usually it would correspond, I don't actually mean that at all times it would because that'll kind of disallow my position because I'm not arguing for a definitive stance. I'm arguing for a probabilistic, right? I'm stating that we can probabilistically
wait,
believe in the. Wait, hold up 1 second. Can you
my motherfucker.
relax?
Go ahead. Yeah, my fault. Go ahead. I apologize.
I'm stating that we can probabilistically believe in the existence of an external world, and how empiricism is scientifically understood is that empiricism be the sense data between our mind, our consciousness, and how exactly we interpret the external world. Now, in order to attempt to put empiricism into question, that leads on to a whole bunch of kind of like weird prerequisites. Like, for example, if you were to evoke the statement that, oh, okay, I'm putting empiricism into question, then in that context right there, you'd be denying all these scientific understandings, all the revolution things that we came upon, all these things and all these things that we came upon to conclude the existence of an external world, despite it leading on or back onto the mind. It'll presuppose that how the mind works is that everything we use, how
Bro,
exactly
who
we
is that?
interpret. Yo, y'all gotta mute the niggas of that VC.
Wait. Can I?
What?
Okay, go.
No, I'm
Go.
not done. I'm stating that what you'd be doing is that you'd have more prerequisites than I would be having, right? In this context right here, you'd be having more leaps of logic because in the context of the mind, right, what we'd be doing right here is that you'd be assuming that everything or how exactly we interpret reality would be completely conformed through the mind. At least that's kind of what your statement would kind of
Okay,
lead
son.
back
I
to. And in that
understand. Wait.
context right there, that would be kind of weird because there's
Okay,
nothing really
yeah.
substantial or even backed up in the slightest.
Okay,
It
Okay,
seems more
wait.
probabilistic to
First,
believe
wait.
in
Let me
Nick's rather than
just.
yours.
Okay, so that's completely wrong. The problem with your argument is that you just committed, bro. That's completely oxymoronic. You said that you're not arguing for the definitive cases. You're arguing for probabilistic cases. Aren't you arguing that it's definitively probable, therefore
Oh,
conceding your position?
that's not.
No,
No,
wait,
that's
no. Let me finish.
okay.
Also, you saying my side has more unwarranted assumptions doesn't actually justify anything because the assumption of this thing is the case will be the assumption that this thing is not the case on your side if you don't have any justification for it. The thing that's in question is empiricism. Sure, I can be putting into question all these scientific revolutions. You saying that doesn't do anything. I just live my everyday life with it because it doesn't change. It doesn't change anything.
I understand your
So
point
when we
entirely.
say, yeah, no. So
Wait,
when
you're
we arrive,
shotgunning me
hold on,
though. You made two
hold on.
points. You made a
Wait, no,
claim.
you
You made
made
an
no.
oxymoronic
Hold on,
statement, and then made another
no.
claim.
Wait, no, because when I tried to make multiple points, no, I'm making multiple points in response to your multiple points. So you cannot do that because when I tried to interject you, I let you
Hey,
finish.
hold up. I gotta pause 1 second. Someone's
Mute
knocking
your
on my
mic.
door. Someone's knocking on my door.
Bro, mentality, mute your mic, bro. Oh
Wait,
my
what?
god,
My bad. Give me a second.
mentality. Beetlejuice, are you following so far?
Yeah, I go with that.
Okay. Who do you think is winning?
It's kind of like a stalemate right now, but I think that Sonic needs to show why it's more probable for the external world
Yeah,
to exist rather than the contrary.
exactly. Okay. Why are y'all doing it in the service? Because my nigga Yami wanted this to. Damn.
Oh God, I don't even know why that nigga even asked that dumbass question. Stupid.
Shit, we did another server. Would have got so much more activity, but it's fine. I don't even care.
Should have done it in mine.
Nah, whoever just said that you're getting muted as well.
Literally.
Man. Man, Yomi, when you gonna give me my nightfall
Wait, who's that talking?
profile?
Okay.
She called me Big Daddy. I told her fuck my. She called me
Shut
Big
up,
Daddy.
faggot.
Alright.
Damn. Is it?
Wow,
Was that
Tinta,
Ronaldo? What the fuck?
you're an op, Tinta, damn.
I was gonna vote for both. I just wanted to see your reaction.
Eating a burger with no honey bun mustard? What the hell are you talking about? Infinity a bitch? Yeah, okay. Anyways, moving on with our everyday lives. What's the topic? The topic is the existence of an external world, which I don't disagree with. I disagree with his reasoning as to why it's the case. Wait, Tinta, why didn't you add my nachos to that tier list template?
I didn't have it. I think
Oh,
that's the only thing that I missed.
Yo.
I missed that and the
Oh.
fucking and the pasta that you spilled.
Okay.
Those
Okay.
two.
That was noodles, by the way, but go ahead.
Did you make any of the points where I was gone?
Oh, no, of course not. Of course not. If you believe I did.
Yes, he did. Why are you lying?
Okay, Tinta,
He
no,
made,
shut up.
okay, he,
Wow,
okay, he made a
bro.
point. He made a point. He made a point.
What did he say? What did he say?
Wait, hold on. For the recording, if you believe I did, you can just dismiss it. Like, it goes unaddressed. Like, you dismiss it.
No, okay. So, what did he say? Because someone told me the VC. I don't want like
No, there's no.
You're wild, bro. I'm trolling, but you're
Oh.
wild.
Okay, can you relax? All right. So, did you say like prove anything? Because someone.
Oh, I mean, I already told you to prove your position, but that was the first thing I said. So would you like to conclude?
Oh no, I don't want to conclude yet because I want to address what you're saying. You made a claim
Okay,
about
go
something
ahead.
being oxymoronic. So you were stating that I'm not believing in it definitively rather than believing in it in a probabilistic sense. I don't really think that's oxymoronic.
Wait, that's
I
not
really
what I
think
said. Can I clarify?
Yeah, repeat what you said. Yeah, repeat what you
Yeah,
said.
just to yeah. So what you actually said was you're not arguing for any definitive cases. I said that would be incorrect because you're arguing that it's definitively probable. That's what you said.
Well, no, that's not what I meant. Okay, yeah, we just had a miscommunication. When I say I'm not arguing for an external world being definitive, I'm stating that in like a deductive sense or in a sense where I can 100% verify the existence of an external world. I'm arguing that it's probable to believe in an external world. Hence
Okay,
why
yeah.
I'm giving an induction.
Okay, if that's what you meant, then we can continue. Just go ahead. Respond to the other things.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to clarify that. Yeah. Okay, so what other claims did you make? Because I had to go downstairs to pick up some groceries.
Yeah. I argued upon it being oxymoronic. I said, yeah, you're saying that I'm making way too many leaps in logic, or my position requires more leaps in logic and unwarranted assumptions. I said the unwarranted assumption that this thing is the case would be the same thing for your position because you're making an unwarranted assumption that this thing is not the case, for example. So when you say that,
That's not. Oh, that's okay. Yeah. So you had a misunderstanding of what I was stating. What I was stating was that I was stating that your position has a lot more prerequisites rather than what I have. Right. All I'm simply stating is that through the conscious experience or through consciousness. Okay, can you chill? Through consciousness, what exactly would occur is that as we have a consciousness, through our sense data, we're able to interpret the external world to an extent, even though sometimes we can be infallible. I'm stating that has way less leaps in logic than what you're doing because you're assuming or you're invoking a possibility or we're entirely conforming the existence of a reality through our minds, which I'm stating is just a complete kind of like a baseless possibility, right? You're just invoking this possibility. I'm stating that I have more reasoning or a bunch of people, all these people who have sense data empiricism can collaborate to the idea of an external world. So rather than it being something only dependent upon the mind would be more of a presumption rather than it being, independent of the mind, aka an external world, since all these people and everybody in collaboration can come to the conclusion of an external world probabilistically, right? I'm not stating that this is 100% the case. I'm asking for a deduction.
Wait,
Just to
okay,
clarify.
so wait. Yeah, it's for the induction thing. I already believe I defeated the people stuff, so we can move on to the other
Wait, how do you defeat the people stuff? Because someone's yelling me saying you proved that it's more probable. You said prove that it's more probable.
Wait, so people are helping you in DMs?
No, a nigga said you slipped something in while I was gone.
I didn't slip anything in. I literally said everything clearly. I repeated the points, but to address
I don't want to conclude if I don't understand. If I didn't hear everything that you said, so did you prove that's more probable? Yes or no?
I repeated. No, I repeated it twice, but turn to speak. No, bro. Where's the
No, I was about to leave on something.
No, you were literally done. No, where's the moderation?
Wait.
Like, I was literally my turn to speak, bro.
All right.
Like, okay.
I wasn't
Bro,
done, bro.
bro, you literally stopped talking and then you
No,
went-
no,
told
because
me
I was about to say,
repeat
I was about to continue.
No,
I
you
just took a breath.
you were not at
I
all.
have
Bro. Let
water
me
right
get my
next to me. I
arguments.
just took a
Bro,
breath.
let me get my arguments, bro. Like you literally
Bro, I'm
stopped for
not.
5 seconds, allow me to get my arguments, bro.
No, that was literally like a nanosecond, bro, and I was about to continue.
No,
Bro.
it
Okay.
was not at all. I was literally about to get my
Come
argument.
on,
And that's
can you
when
just be?
decided
Can you
to
just?
stop.
Okay, can you just be
All right,
charitable? Can
just
I
go,
just
bro.
finish
Just
what I was
go.
gonna
Just
say? I
go.
want to
Just
get my
go,
thought
bro.
out.
Just go.
Okay. Yeah. So. Okay. Yeah. So if you're trying to say that I would be begging the question in a sense, where what I would be basically doing is that I would be stating that through empiricism we'd be analyzing the external world, but you're trying to say that'll be something dependent upon the mind. I think that my point is more supported, if not have more things leading on or rise to the conclusion
I
that
know
an
the claim. I
external
know
world
the claim you're
exists.
making, bro. That I
Yeah,
know the
wait,
claim you're making. Wait, hold on, bro. Okay, you're just repeating yourself. You
okay,
already
do you have
said
any
that.
new address? Do you have any new
Yeah,
like
yeah.
arguments
I have
against?
a lot of stuff to address. So I know the claim you're making. You didn't actually justify that. That's what's been in the question. Your question begging to address the other thing. Once again,
Wait. Oh
you're
my god.
saying, hold on, no, bro. You were just done, bro. Chill.
I don't think
So
that's
you're
question
saying,
backing.
bro, chill, bro. Okay. So sure, you can say my side has more prerequisites than you. That's what's put in the question once again. You're saying actually me saying that us existing
Wait,
in the mind
I'm
would
gonna
be a
explain how.
no,
Okay.
no, bro. Shut
I think I
up.
already
Dofi,
answered
what are you
that
doing?
statement.
Dofi, what are you doing, bro? Like this is clearly biased, so I don't even want you to moderate. Who do you want to moderate, bro? Exactly. Like what the fuck? Okay. So to respond what you
You
said,
literally cut him off.
the claim that this has more unwarranted assumptions is the same thing as you saying that this thing or assuming the thing that this thing is not the case, therefore unwarranted assumptions since you didn't justify it. The prerequisite that you're conceding to the fact that there's a mind or a reality that exists within the mind would be a more unwarranted assumption than saying that there's a reality within the mind, which we already agreed to by the way, and there's an external reality. Actually, that's not the case. If I say that, well, the mind that we
Wait, what
already
did I
agreed
agree to?
exists.
What
No,
did I
hold
agree
on, bro.
to? You're saying I agreed to something.
Yofi, what are you doing, bro? Like, what is this? Why would you unmute him? Okay. So once again, if we already agree that the mind exists, then it actually would be more of a prerequisite to say that the mind and the reality exist because these are two presets. These are two assumptions. You have yet to justify the reality existing. All you're doing is relying back on what's put in the question. You didn't justify anything. So would you like to conclude?
No, I want to address the part where you're saying I have more unwarranted assumptions. No, Infinity. What I think is more of an unwarranted assumption is to come to the conclusion that we are conforming a reality through our heads. Your argument is leading to the conclusion
Why?
that through the consciousness, we are conforming buildings, trees, a world, a universe, cosmos, everything, all this in existence, which I think would be much more of an assumption than to believe in the fact that this thing would predate us, and therefore, since we come into existence as human beings, we can have a understanding of the external world through our empiricism, right? That's obviously much more of an unwarranted assumption than what I'm stating because there's much more presumptions behind that. All I'm simply stating is that this thing, aka reality, would exist or predate us, and we know this probabilistically because whatever we do actually end up interpreting reality through our sense data, we can come to a probabilistic conclusion that reality does exist despite some of us interpreting
Okay,
different things.
I know.
Right?
Okay, now you're talking.
And can you prove that it's more? Yeah, literally
Okay,
like
no. Okay, no. Okay, let me address the first thing. So actually, wait, can you minute real quick? I actually put this thing in the question first. You're shifting the burden. Your argument made this presupposition, and you made the claim. I already put the burden upon you. Now you're trying to write and shift the burden. Also, to address the other thing, if we already know that we can visually conceive these things like a tree, etc., while you would actually be making multiple assumptions of us existing in this external reality, plus there being a mind where we can visually conceive these things, and external reality housing the universe, the trees, our mothers, our fathers, etc., incest babies, etc. So if either one, you would have to concede to the fact that we have the same unwarranted assumptions, or two, you would just lose that point because I already put into question. You have yet to justify that. You're just making a lot of claims, which will fall back onto your argument and defeat itself.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. You spoke extremely fast. Can somebody summarize what he said?
What do you want me to
That's cool.
repeat? Which part? Which part do you want me to repeat?
I want somebody to summarize. I'm never gonna lie. It's just like a thing how you talk. Can somebody repeat what he said? If that's cool.
I'll repeat myself slowly.
No, I'm perfectly fine with the judge miking up and just repeating what you said. I think that'd be perfectly normal.
Beetlejuice, are you there? Like I can literally repeat myself. Sure.
Beetlejuice, could you repeat what he said? If that's cool.
I think he was speaking something about like shifting the burden. So basically, you're shifting the burden on him with regards to proving that it's more probable that the external world doesn't exist.
No, not that. I'm saying that he's shifting the burden with my side having more or less unwarranted assumptions than him because I'm the one that takes that. Hold on, bro.
What burden am I shifting?
Hold on,
That's not shifting the burden at all. What are you talking about?
Don't ask me to repeat myself and then cut me off. Like that's so dumb, bro. You just said we weren't going to spur. So to answer the question, you're shifting the burden, like I said initially, because you're the one that made the claim and the presupposition. I placed the burden upon you. Now you're telling me to prove that, even though initially I told you to prove it 3 or 2 times. So yes, by definition, it would be shifting the burden.
Okay, yeah. Can you is it cool if you can mute him, Doflamingo, while I talk?
Why would I be muted? I don't interject like you.
Can the judge just do that? That's cool. Okay, thank you. Yeah, Infinity. So I did not actually assess a direct burden onto you. What I was simply stating was that I think that it leads on to much more prerequisites or to come to the conclusion that we can conform a reality through our heads rather than just believe in the simple fact that, oh, maybe this thing just predates us and we could just come or have an interpretation of a reality. An analogy that I can give you is that, let's say, for example, all of us are looking at clouds, right? All of these people can look at a cloud and can come to the conclusion that, oh, that's a cloud, right? Something that kind of blocks the sun ray from like directly contacting human beings, etc., the atmospheres, things of that nature, right? Then in that context right there, all of these people in collaboration come to the conclusion that it's probable that this cloud or these clouds in general exist to protect us from something, right? Whereas, let's say, for example, there's some fucking retarded schizophrenic loser that just looks at the sky and says, oh, there's dragons flying around, they're blocking the sun from hitting us. In that context right there, you would be what would be regarded as an outlier within the general populace or amongst these people, right? So all I'm simply stating, Infinity, is that you would be having more prerequisites attached to your unwarranted claim because you would be assuming that we'd be conforming trees, things, everything that we call a reality in the first place, instead of coming to the conclusion that, oh, maybe this thing just predated us, and we can all come to the proper conclusion that an external world exists. Obviously, when somebody tastes something, they physically have contact with this thing, or what they believe to be actual, as in, i.e., external to the mind, rather than it to be some sort of weird thing that they can form in their heads, right? So I just don't really think that you're addressing the argument. I think via Occam's razor, my point would be more probabilistic or more likely the case because I have way less reason logic than what you're stating right here. If anything, I would like you to show me why exactly you would have more or less unwarranted assumptions arguing or for the contrary of an external world than what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay, so that's what I call shifting the burden on Beetlejuice. You literally just saw that I already placed the burden upon him. Well, it doesn't matter. We already no, bro. Like, what the fuck, bro? What is wrong with you? Like, chill out, bro. It's just a debate. It's not that serious. Okay, so I already placed the burden upon you. You shifting the burden now analytically. I already explained why you would be shifting the burden. You said you wasn't shifting the burden. You didn't give an actual response to that. I already defeated the Occam's razor point. Once again, I already upon everything else. With the tasting, how we know that something is physical through touch, which is put into question because touch is also a sense. Perception governs all five senses. So yeah, we can conclude. You didn't respond to anything else.
Wait, hold up. He's talking like extremely fast again. All right, I'd like for the judge to mic up. Did he make any new points, or did he just repeat what he said?
No, I repeated what I said.
Oh, wait, stop. I'm asking the judge. I did not say Infinity. I said Beetlejuice. Can you relax, bro?
Can I just say something real quick? Okay, listen. Number one, it's not necessarily shifting the burden exactly, but you can call it a fallacious tactic. However, I would say Sonic did give some sort of justification here. So it's not really fallacious if there is some sort of justification for why.
Wait, what justification did he give?
Wait, chill, bro. Okay, you need to actually know what you're doing, dog. You can't just keep interrupting niggas, bro.
I know. He claims that there is some sort of justification as to why he made this assertion. Right.
Okay,
so
yeah, and
no, like,
oh my god, yo, mute this nigga, dog. He's unmuting himself. Oh, bro. Okay, Infinity. I want it to be respectful, but you're literally unmuting yourself. I want it to be respectful. Oh my god, bro.
Also, I was asking the question.
Why are you unmuting yourself, bro? What the fuck is this autistic ass server?
Hold on.
I was talking with the judge, not you. Oh my god, dog.
Stop spurging, bro. Like, are you
Sonic. Hold on.
Okay,
let's just go a step. Okay, can we just go a step backward real quick?
Yes,
Sonic.
I'm trying to, but he keeps on spurging.
Yes. Okay, wait. Sonic, why do you think that it is more probable that the external world exists rather than the contrary?
Wait, Beetlejuice. Can I ask a question before you do that?
Yes.
Yeah, can we conclude? Like, I already think he believes he gave probability, which I know, but
it's going.
No. Don't even help him. Don't help him.
I'm not helping. I'm just saying it's going all over the place. Like for both of you, it's not just for him. It's like all over.
Wait. I really just wanna make one point. I gave a multitude of things that you would be assuming is being conformed through the mind with my example about a prescription on reality, right?
I know.
Trees, things of that nature, etc. I just want to say one thing though, Beetlejuice, to address the shift the bird things. I never think I got an opportunity to address that. Okay. I'm not, and I think you can all just okay, Dolphy, can you beat this nigga, dog?
I'm not even talking. What the fuck?
He didn't even talk.
I'm sorry. I just
my mic didn't even go green.
Please, Dolphy, just mute him. Okay, thank you. Beetlejuice, I just want to ask you a question real quick, Beetlejuice. How exactly am I shifting the burden? Okay, he's unmuting himself. This shit's fucking autistic. I'm about to leave the server.
Why would I? What?
He's
Like, why
unmuting
would I?
himself. I'm gonna leave the server. I'm gonna leave the server. Who owns this
Sonic,
dumbass
Sonic,
server?
what?
Who owns this dumbass server? I'm gonna leave it. He keeps unmuting himself. Who owns the server?
Sonic, 1 second.
Why was I muted? Like what?
Who owns
Sonic,
the
1
fucking
second.
server?
I wasn't
never
even-
debate, bro.
Just go.
I expected you to be more mature than this.
Listen,
You
Sonic,
said
you
we're
didn't
gonna have
interrupt.
fucking
You didn't
conversation.
interrupt. Mute him.
You don't know how to take turns.
Oh my god, no, bro. Cause, bro, stop. Okay, stop being toxic. Bro.
What? You're the one sparking. Like what the fuck?
No, I'm not, dog. Who keeps? Okay, can you stop unmuting yourself, bro? That's kind of OD. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Okay, listen. It doesn't matter if Infinity's like not.
Okay. I want to ask you a question, quick, Beetlejuice. How exactly would I be shifting the burden when I think I give a justification as to why exactly I would have less prerequisites leading on to the logical conclusion that an external world
Can
exists?
you? Okay, for simplicity, just for like the sake of simplicity, and for the sake for all this to just like for you guys to stop arguing about debating, right? Can you give this justification like loud and clear so Infinity can hear and he can address it?
Beetlejuice.
There we go.
Wait, Beetlejuice. I just want to ask
speak to the
you.
judge, bro. Why do you?
Oh
interject?
my
Like, I don't
fuck.
even interject.
Oh my
Like
god.
you just
dog.
did. Okay,
Sonic,
Beetlejuice-
you asked.
That's why I asked for him to get muted, bro.
Bro, Beetlejuice. I'm speaking to the judge, so I already.
No,
believe-
wait. I didn't say I
Oh
was
my
done. I
God,
didn't
like,
say
what
you
is
go
this,
ahead,
bro?
dude.
Dofi,
What the
mute
fuck?
him. What is this moderation?
Dofi, you know I was literally trying to have a conversation with the judge, bro. God, man, what the fuck, dude? And if he unmutes himself.
All right. Okay.
Sonic
Yeah.
is muted.
Beetlejuice. Wait. Beetlejuice. Who do you want to respond to first? Because Sonic was
Okay,
about to
I
ask
already
a
spoke.
question.
Sonic asked me the question, and I said, okay, Sonic claimed to give a justification. I just said, Sonic, maybe you can give us this justification once again, loud and clear. Not saying you didn't give one before, but I'm just saying, just for simplicity, maybe you can give us a justification again. So, Infinity can answer properly, right? So, Infinity.
All right. Okay. Sonic, you can ask the question after. I'm gonna.
No, Infinity wanted to ask me something too. So
Wait, yeah, I said, can we move on? He already believes he gave justification. I know what you're referring to. I
Okay,
already-
but like, is it fine if
Like,
you
no,
guys just
stop trying to be charitable to him, please, bro.
I'm not.
Oh,
being
wait.
fair, I'm just saying.
Yeah, so I wanna I wanna talk to the judge real quick. So Beetlejuice, do you already oh my god, okay, you just wanna repeat what I said. I'll repeat what I said again. If you want Infinity to get a chance to directly respond to that.
Yes, I want Infinity to directly respond to it again because I don't think this is like a proper debate. Like you guys are just yelling at each other. Okay, you didn't answer me. You guys didn't answer me. It's just all this like random bullshit you guys are saying at each other. So I want it to just be more moderated, more civil, right? Because you guys are just screaming at each other and interrupting each other. You know, so I don't want that. It'll be easy.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm gonna say it again, and I want you to get an opportunity to respond to it. Infinity. What I'm stating right now is that chill. What I'm stating right now, right, is that you would be having much more prerequisites leading to the contrary of an external world in this context right here, at least in response to my argument. Because my argument is stating that, okay, right, we know and everybody can collaborate to the idea of an external world existing in the first place. Through sense data, they can interpret the external world, although, yes, I do acknowledge we could be somewhat infallible, which is why there's certain instances where some people interpret things differently. At the end of the day, their interpretations still lead on to the conclusion or rise to the probability of an external world, which is something that we call induction, right? It's things leading on or rising to the conclusion of such a thing, right, Infinity? All I'm simply stating right now is that you would be assuming that everything that we call this reality and everything that is understood to predate us, that we interpret now, at least as of right now, you would be assuming that all these things, including stars...
Wait, no.
let me ask the judge real quick. If I cut, I want to start from where I did.
No, you didn't cut out for me, but you made
okay, yeah.
You can repeat it.
Yeah, Infinity.
Yo,
what
just
you
the
would
last
be
part.
doing?
Last part.
Yeah, what you would be doing, Infinity, is that you would be having much more prerequisites and much more leaps in logic rather than
No, only the last part.
I'm stating that the general consensus is that this universe or this thing that we refer to as a reality would predate us, and then we can have sense data or interpret it. Even though sometimes we can interpret different things different, we can still probabilistically come or rise to the conclusion that this thing exists. All I'm simply stating right now, Infinity, is that your argument in specific would be presupposing that we would be conforming things like planets, trees, stars, Earth, the core of this, all these things that we would refer to as a reality within the first place, you'd be assuming that we've been conforming this through the mind, which I think is much more of a leap in logic what I'm stating, right? You're literally arguing something like we're in a fucking Matrix movie, and Morpheus is telling fucking, whatever the nigga's name is, the one or some shit, that everything is fucking fake. Like, that's just some shit out of the fucking Matrix.
Yeah, okay, I already addressed that. We can go to conclusions. If Beetlejuice doesn't hear my response in the debate, he's gonna hear in the conclusions, and there will be in the recording. I can get the time for that.
Okay.
Wait. You're gonna respond to it in the conclusions, right?
No, I already
I didn't
responded.
even think a conclusion is
No,
necessary.
Sonic, bro, Sonic, shut up! Like, God.
Wait, let me ask the judge a question.
No,
Ready to go to conclusions, don't worry about it.
bro. Like, I
Wait,
get muted when I speak to the bro.
Sonic.
Like, bro.
Just give
okay.
Infinity one. Give Infinity 1
Yes,
minute.
I already responded to it 5 fucking times. I'll repeat it in the conclusions if you don't believe you heard it, and it's going to be in the recording, so I can get the timestamp later on.
Okay,
we continue.
honestly, I think I kind of agree with Sonic. This debate is extremely short, so I don't really know if a conclusion is like. I feel like a conclusion would be kind of too rushed. Unless
Bro,
we want to keep going a little
wait,
bit more.
Sonic, do you agree to conclude? Let's just ask him.
Sonic doesn't agree to conclusion.
I said no, wait. I'm not entirely denying it. I'm stating if the judge already has a grasp of our arguments, I would like for him to just give a verdict.
Bro, Beetlejuice, like, please give a verdict, or we can conclude, bro. Please.
Okay. Listen, I heard Sonic's justification. Sonic's justification is basically there's a general consensus, right, that we all attest that there is this existing object. Therefore, probabilistically speaking, we can make the assertion that it exists. Right.
Yeah.
And
what did I say?
Your response to that would be, huh?
Yeah, go ahead. My fault.
Yeah, and what would your response be to that? Like, can you just give one real quick?
Wait, bro. Like, I already gave a response. Are we? Like, I agree to conclusions. I already repeated it 5 fucking times, bro. Sonic, do you agree to conclude?
Bro. Okay, bro. Judge, if
I'm
you
not
think you already. Please relax, please. Judge,
What?
if you think that you already have a verdict, please just feel free to state it. I'm kind of in a rush right now. My parents are kind of bugging me.
I mean, if you're in a rush, we can just agree to conclude and we can get conclusions. Or I can give my response. Hold on. No, shut up. So in my conclusion, I can give my response, and then that's all we can give, and he can give a verdict for the rest of the
Judge, do you already have a verdict?
Okay, wait. If we go to conclusions, Infinity, are you going to give your response?
Yes, because I said it.
Okay. Let's just go to conclusion. I want to hear the response. That's all I want to hear because I know Infinity does have a response.
Thank you.
That's all. I just want to hear the response. That's it. If he has one.
So in response, I actually have 3 things. One, the prerequisite doesn't matter because we are already established that we can visually conceive things, and we can visually conceive things like the trees, universe, etc., blah blah blah. Then it wouldn't be an extra unwarranted assumption because that thing is warranted. He did not put into question whether or not we can visually conceive things. 2, him saying that we have taste. Therefore, we can, and taste requires physicality. I said, actually, physicality, we grasp physicality via touch, which is one of the 5 senses. So you'll be question begging because I'm putting into question all of our senses. I'm putting into question all of perception. So if you say this consensus, which I already said can be mind dependent, and all these other people can be hallucinations, since also our for example, to hear that this consensus is valid, we have to hear someone say, well, I see the sky is blue, and then I say I see the sky is blue. Therefore, this thing is more probabilistically blue. I'm putting into question that consensus existing. You saying that, well, this person said it, you will be relying on your hearing. You saying that, well, I read it on the book of another person saying, you'll be relying on your sight. So all he did to increase his likelihood is peel back what's in question. All he did was, well, this consensus is saying it, therefore it's likely. I always put the consensus into question whether or not they actually exist, because the only way to actually tell if they exist is to see these things or verify these things empirically, which I already disagree with empiricism. He didn't validate anything. And with the Occam's razor thing, I said the assumption that this thing is the case would be on your side. The assumption that this thing is not the case, since you did not justify it, I already placed the burden upon you first. That's why I call shifting the burden. So you can give your judgment.
Judge, wait, I really want to answer your question real quick, because if you...
oh my God, bro.
Oh, what the fuck? Okay, bro, I'm sorry. You have to, actually chill the fuck out.
Didn't even doing it, what?
Okay, bro. You said, oh my God, out loud, bro, while I was about to talk.
Listen...
Bro.
Can I just give advice to both of you guys? Just to both of you guys, not just to one or the other. Right? When you guys are having a debate, the person who remains calm the most, I think would win the debate if they remain calm. Just chill out, don't scream at each other. That's it. That's advice to both of you guys.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm trying as hard as possible to stay calm, but like Infinity, I'm not saying that you're directly cutting me. Like I'm not saying that you're like making an argument or talking about I'm talking, but I'm saying that every single time. Like even just now, you said randomly, "Oh my God, I was bad at state a question," which
By
I
the way,
found
Sonic, if you listen at the start of the debate, you were the one that interjected me first, but it doesn't matter. Beetle, just can you give judgment, bro?
Well, that was because I wanted. Okay, whatever. So Beetlejuice, do you think that my conclusion is necessary? Because I believe that I addressed every single point that he made in his conclusion during the debate.
In a debate, it would be more proper if you were to conclude as well with him. It would be kind of wrong to do it and improper to do it if it's just a one-sided conclusion.
Okay. So, for the first thing that I want to address, which is Infinity's point about conceiving that you heard, he said you never put into negation the ability to conceive things. I don't really see the relevance of this particular argument, at least in response to what I stated, because what I stated was that and you heard my point, through a general consensus and through many things that we have used in order to interpret and come to a conclusion and things of such of an external world, in that context right there, right, Beetlejuice, we can all probabilistically come to the conclusion of an external world despite us interpreting it differently, right? I even gave an analogy about how, for example, everybody can look at the sky, everybody can see the sky, everybody can interpret clouds being there, but then there's obviously going to be that one schizophrenic loser that'll see the sky and they'll see they'll see the quote unquote sky, and to them, all they'll simply see is like a bunch of dragons. Now, in that context right there, what it's abundantly clear to us is that they're obviously they're conceiving a notion through their head conforming this thing, which is that there's obviously a dragon, but to everybody else there appears to be clouds. Now, what I'm stating right now is that to address the Occam's thing, I still think that I had a much more probabilistic argument, had less leaps in logic, because obviously Infinity, it's going to be way much more leaps in logic in order to assume that everything that we interpret as a quote-unquote external world would be something that is conformed through the mind. And I gave it multiple instances that would all be leaps of logic on your end, aka a tree, grass, a planet, a fucking solar system, ecosystems, all these things in collaboration would be you assuming that we just conformed that thing through our mind or through our conscious experience. So I think it's a huge assumption and a huge leap of logic. I think what has less assumptions in this context would be something that would predate the mind. This thing that predates the mind is the quote-unquote external world, that all these people that come into existence can all collaborate to the existence of an external world. As they can collaborate to the existence of an external world, they can interpret it differently sometimes, which is why I'm not denying the idea of infallibility, or the idea that we can be infallible. Obviously, we can interpret different things differently, but it's still much more probabilistic to believe in an external world. Obviously, Occam's razor would be supporting the position right here. And again, to address the begging the question point, he attempted to put empiricism into question. I was saying that you can't really do that because obviously you cannot deny or even put empiricism into question when empiricism is what's colloquially in a general consensus, right, in that type of situation, that type of format, is understood to all come to the conclusion that an external world exists within the first place through empiricism, through the sense data. I even said that scientifically speaking, we know that empiricism is the sense data between our consciousness, right, and how exactly we interpret the external world. I don't really think Infinity addressed any of my arguments, especially not the Occam's razor one.
You done?
Yeah, do you have a verdict?
Do you have judgment?
Okay, so basically, the argument here from Sonic was that there's a general consensus. We can all see that there's this one reality which exists. And Infinity's response to this was, well, you're going to have to rely on your senses to even grasp this consensus, right? Because you have people attesting to this, and attestations from an external thing other than yourself would entail that you are knowing through your senses. So that in itself would just be begging the question, according to Infinity. Yeah, that was Infinity's response, by the way, to that justification regarding the general consensus.
I'm aware of that. I think I addressed that point.
Wait, can you just give judgment? Wait, chill. Can you just give judgment, Beetle?
I would say.
Oh, come on, Beetle. I even defined what induction was.
Right,
I need to think. Listen, I got
the induction shit does not matter, bro.
I would say Infinity.
Alright, GG's.
Listen, I'm not done.
Go ahead.
It was like on and off for me. I don't know.
Can you just rewatch recording if that's cool? Then if you don't have an actual definitive verdict,
can I just rewatch the recording real quick?
Yeah.
That's completely fine.
I think I'm leaning towards Infinity, but I just want to see if Sonic, because at the very end he was speaking a little bit like was saying a lot of
Yeah.
stuff, so I do want to rewatch that just in case I missed anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that fine?
Yeah, sure.
That's fine.
Wait,
Okay,
you
Wait,
can listen
okay,
to the
wait,
verdict right
Sonic,
now.
by the way, Sonic.
Hey, did anybody record? Cause somebody saved the recording.
Yeah, Spotify recorded, but
There's a
Sonic,
recording
do you agree to not debate Goon Beetlejuice?
Well, what does that mean?
He means as in, do I agree to not continuously like bug you or whatever?
About judgment. Yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna give an honest judgment. Like, you guys are both my friends, right? Like, good friends of mine, right? So I'm not gonna be biased here. No reason to be biased.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just gonna like give my verdict with all honesty. Obviously, my verdict isn't something valuable, so
Yeah, okay.